Hello, and welcome to another episode of Scavenger Life. This is episode number 200 at scavengerlife.com.
It's pretty incredible, 200.
Yeah, I didn't even realize it was 200 until this minute.
So we hope, obviously, you are right now photographing or listing or cleaning or doing something very useful.
Or packing.
Or packing.
The stuff that you sold for real money.
That's right. It makes us feel good, you know? Instead of you're just sitting there just staring at like a big pile of junk. You're just staring at it.
Sometimes I do just stare at it and think, like what do I do?
Actually, it's a Sunday and it's Memorial Day a weekend, and the way we spent our morning was me.
Yes, very much you.
Having an agenda.
Oh my God.
Like, I will text Ryan, she'll be over in the office, and I'll be like, Ryan, I have an agenda.
Well, which is good because oftentimes you'll pretend you don't have an agenda, but you have this list. I'm like, this is clearly an agenda.
So I like to do it over chat because I like to test the water just to see how...
yes, I get very cranky about that sometimes.
How helpful Ryan's getting.
You know why? Because I say, do not tell me what to do. But sometimes I like having an agenda.
And so we spent our Memorial Day, a weekend, a morning on a Sunday, taking photographs of stuff that's in our house.
Big stuff. Like large items. Yeah,
like we had some huge, big, rolling tool chests that we'd bought at an auction that were in our house, in our kitchen, just sitting there.
Right in the middle of the kitchen, just like, I'm going to walk around this to make my
big
breakfast.
Suitcases, a chandelier.
Well, the chandelier it's kind of a mini chandelier, so that was a
computer monitor.
Yeah, but stuff that's like large.
Yeah, so things that it's helpful when two of us are doing it, so one person can hold. Then the way we do it, Ryan takes the photos, and then I write out.
Yeah,
it's what it is.
Basically, we do it double time, where you're typing out what it is, I'm shouting out the measurements, and then we weigh it and put it away. That is a good team effort for things like that.
So our house feels much cleaner.
Yes.
That's what we do as trash elves. And
yes.
So, this past week we posted an interview with
Sylvia,
who already talked about the early days of eBay. I don't like to say the old days. I should say the old days because it makes people feel like they're old. No,
it's just the early days, the beginning days, the late 90s.
And honestly, I didn't expect as much kind of conversation as happened. It was cool. People popped up and we're just talking about the stories of what it was like to them back in 1999.
Yeah, I started my account in 99, September of 99. I was in college.
And so it's interesting hearing because forget this because I had nothing to do with eBay. My start date was 2008. So 1999 was it's photos that people were listing and selling without photos because it makes sense because there's no
how people didn't have digital cameras.
I had my first digital camera in 1999, but I remember it was $600 for what you would think now would be a $5 camera,
like a junky little
But it was really great.
Yeah, well, I remember because my mom started back then. That's kind of why I started. Was I was helping her, and we were kind of figuring it out together. And the camera to get, well, some people said the Fuji Finepix, but even earlier than that was the Sony Mavica, and it took photo. I have one for sale right now. Actually, I'm about to list it. It took pictures on a floppy disk, which was amazing. Yep. It's just what? And what was cool about those was they could actually take little video clips, little 30-second video clips. Yep. It would take up the whole hard drive.
Plus, the cool thing about them too, it did it at the right exact size.
It was 640 by 480, which is or you could do it a little bit smaller, which for back then was, it compressed it. It was perfect for the web back then.
So in 1999, I quit my job at CNN and I became a freelancer and I went to Africa. I went to the Democratic Republic of Congo with a video camera.
You had a video camera
because my dream was to tell stories, and I don't know. I was young. And
what year was that? 99?
Yep.
Oh my God.
I was 24 or something like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm gonna do this, and then I go over there, and my camera, my video camera, just died because of the
the heat,
humidity.
That's right. I remember those early cameras because I remember we had one when we met, and any humid day in New York, you'd be like, nope, doesn't work.
So my dad actually, he bought a digital still camera. It's like I said, for
a Canon, right, or something.
Yeah, it was big and bulky, and I remember he mailed it to me, which seemed incredible, and I got it, and I ended up just, instead of doing videos, I took a bunch of photos, and it was really cool. I was able to take photos, and they even had an internet cafe, which, I mean, again, 1999, that was incredible.
Especially in Kinshasa? Like, what are you talking about?
And I would be posting these photos, so, you know, I didn't make any money, I had no business, no job. It was just an adventure, and it was just... And that was kind of the beginning of, like, the excitement of the internet.
The internet, yeah.
You go places, make media.
Right.
You know.
Well, that was before any blogs existed. I mean...
Right.
I
had to code my own HTML page.
Oh, my God. I was
so bad
I think LiveJournal, which was one of the first blogs, came out, like, right after that. So, yeah, that's crazy.
So, it's interesting. On eBay, I do remember now that, really putting photos online was a
big deal.
Process.
Yeah.
I mean, forget about putting a video online, even photos
online. Yeah.
So it's amazing to me that people would just buy something from you without
photos. Like, think about it now. We're like minimum 12 photos. Right. You know, well, you know, for a lot of things, but it's hilarious.
And then it's amazing to me to think that then it was all money orders. So someone would be like, you just said what you have, I'll buy it from you.
I'll give you cash.
I'll send you a check or a money order or cash. Did people actually send cash in the mail?
People sent cash because the reason I learned about eBay was a friend of mine in college, totally insane, was collecting Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle stuff.
Yep.
What? That's what he was into. And he would send people cash in envelopes because he was like, I'm not going to the post office. I have $20 cash. I'm just going to mail it. And something that did happen that I heard of was people knew, you know, like bad people. I don't know. I'm not saying they worked for any postal whatever, but people would know that person's an eBay seller and their mail would get stolen and cash would get stolen out of it. You know, stuff like that. So money orders were a little more safer, but still, you're like, that's essentially cash or a check or whatever.
And then it's interesting what people were saying, and I think this is why it probably felt like a gold rush, because there are so few people listing stuff. You could list things that really weren't uncommon. You know?
This is before Amazon, right? I mean, this is before you're just like, order whatever online.
But, you know, you could put something up and it would be actually rare because you couldn't find it anyplace
else. No one else had it.
So everything would sell. You know, it's interesting, you know, obviously, and I think that's why the early eBayers get probably frustrated at eBay now, is that, you know, I can't remember the last time we listed an item that there wasn't already an item on
at least one.
No matter how just rare and what we think is like, no one's going to have this. There it is.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
I mean,
or there it is, sold 2 months ago, you know, something like that.
So, you know, we feel happy if, like, there's only 50 others. Then I'm like, wow, this is super rare. You know, there's only 50 of them.
Yeah. Well, it's so interesting. It reminds me of, like, when you talk to kids now, and they're like, you know, they don't remember not having the internet. They don't remember not having iPhones. They're like, what do you mean you had a phone that wasn't an iPhone, you know, or a smartphone? You're like, oh my God, things change so fast, you know, but...
And that people would sell things auction only because that was
the only choice, yeah.
But that people would say is that they wouldn't want to list too much stuff because they didn't want to, you know, put too much out there.
Right.
So they would keep things, you know, keep quantities really as low and create, I guess, like a false scarcity.
Yeah, false scarcity. But also the other thing that was hilarious is that someone said, if you had, let's say, an owl figurine by Hallmark from the 70s, but there was another seller that had that same one, you didn't want to list it at the same time. I mean, the thought of thinking there's only one other one listed on eBay and don't list it at the same time.
Yeah.
What? That's so amazing.
Yeah.
Or when people said, I could see all the auctions I could see everything, because that's the real beginning.
Right.
I could see everything that was listed, because it was such a small site.
You could, scroll through the
you
whole
can
thing.
scroll through the whole site.
But it's no wonder why it felt like a gold rush. And people talked about, too, is like, I guess it was all kind of a gray... a market where there were no taxes. I mean, I guess people would voluntarily claim income, but there was no, there's no PayPal, there's no eBay telling the IRS, so it was all free money. And that's, I think, again, probably one of the things that makes the early eBayers angry is that it's no longer free money. It's got to be a business.
Well, what's crazy to me is, okay, so eBay started in, 98, essentially.
Right.
It took until, I think it was 2011 or 2012 for PayPal to start sending 1099s. Right. Not eBay doesn't send them, it's PayPal. I mean, actually, that's a long time.
Yeah, I mean, actually, when we started in 2008, there was no, you had to voluntarily
do it.
And I remember when there was that thing where everyone started freaking out when PayPal said they were going to start to
send 1099s, People freaked out.
People still are kind of like, what? If I make over $20,000, I have to report this?
You're like, you have to report it anyway. You make $100, you're supposed to report it, but
so I really feel like I don't know if it's like the second generation, but
second wave.
I know that you started a little bit, but you weren't really a seller till about 2008.
Right.
And I came and we started our store after kind of like the big shift, the big schism,
Yeah.
When eBay finally got more professional, and they were like...
They bought PayPal in 2004, I think, so it had already been 4 years.
So it was like PayPal only.
Yeah.
There was now Buy It Now, plus the auctions. You couldn't a seller couldn't leave any feedback for a buyer and get into a
That happened very soon after we started. Right. Yeah.
And so I just remember we were like, okay,
fine.
We started with these new rules, I guess. So
pretty much. And also, we were so excited to be making money from home, from garbage, essentially. We were like, I remember having this attitude. We'd be like, oh, this sucks, this new rule. And we were like, doesn't matter.
Right.
We're making so much money on stuff we find in the garbage.
We had such good profits. Is we were like, what? They're going to raise their fees by 3 cents or whatever.
We just did not care.
And plus, like I've always said, we've always kept an eye out for other competitors, but if someone else is better, well, cool. But so far, this is it.
For me, I remember this, pivotal moment where I was applying for jobs in DC for being a professional video editor. Right. And then it was kind of like, we lived 2 hours from DC. What was I going to do?
Well, we were talking about renting an apartment
and all this stuff. And then it was like we kind of found this niche and we were like, let's just go full force because, I don't want to live in DC. The whole point of living out here was this. I don't want to commute.
We talked about that, the job.
So
really, it's for us. eBay has never really been a Wild West. It's always been a pretty, and I guess that's why our It's Manifesto will show people this, that it's for us. It's more about steady business.
Yes, sustainable.
Yeah, it's about we've all moved into a sophisticated online selling and buying world.
Right.
Like the early eBay couldn't exist now, even if eBay wanted to turn it back to that, because there's too much competition out there.
Yeah.
You can buy an item from anywhere. There are sites that do comparisons, so you can find the best site. Those early days are done.
Yeah. So I really enjoyed those conversations. It was really fun to hear that a lot of people who were commenting had been on eBay and had been selling, and maybe they took a break or whatever, but they could compare. It wasn't just, everyone's a new seller. A lot of people remembered how crazy it was back then.
And, if you think about it now, 15 years later, we've come to a world where we all have these small computers in our pockets.
Yeah.
You can snap a photo. It's with this phone. You can then list it on eBay immediately, and that's it. It's really incredible. The next step to me will be you would telepathically sell it to somebody. Like someone would just like shop inside of
your brain.
It's my mind, and then I would agree to it, and then I would like teleport the item. Like that's about
teleport it.
That's the next kind of step. Like it's just ridiculous.
I mean, Amazon is talking about similar things where it's like drone shipping and same day, like you order it that morning and it's there in a couple hours. I mean that's
why I always tell people, again, I don't know about those early Wild West days, but it sounded cool. But this is now, I feel like this is one of the greatest times to be selling online because more and more people are coming to buy stuff. Like that's the cool thing is that more people are buying stuff than they are going to stores online.
Yeah.
So
it's just normal.
So that's, I guess, what I wanted to kind of start off the podcast with is just about change.
Yeah.
And that's what we, joke about a lot in the comments on the blog.
Yeah.
About, like, someone doesn't want to change and we, like, talk about a better way to do something. And I know it's for us, we've always been pretty good at change,
Well, I think it's just, we know
10 years we've been together.
Yeah, it's just kind of inevitable. And I feel like if you have an open kind of like way you live your life with your job or your money or whatever, you can kind of like shift what you're doing because you're not like, well, I have this office job and I can't move and I can't,
Let's not talk about other people because I don't know about other people. I just know about us. We started our relationship kind of in the middle of just, like, trying its new thing.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, both of us kind of didn't get together with like, deep roots in something.
No.
Like, neither of us had, like, these deep, jobs or...
Yeah.
It's whatever that we were stuck to.
Right.
We both kind of met and we were like, we could do anything,
Yeah.
What do we want to do together? We had the ability to kind of do anything we wanted to do.
The good thing was we were young enough. Right. It's not like we were in our 40s, like, I have this established life. And
some people would just laugh and think that the 40s is young.
Well, you are in your 40s, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I was practically right out of college.
Right.
So for me, I was just like, I had been bouncing around just with different things, freelance jobs and whatever.
But I think that my point was like that was one of the tenets of us forming a relationship is we had gotten involved in the tech world.
Right.
And we were like trying the next new thing.
Right.
Like we wanted to learn more. Like the kind of things we were doing were things they taught in school.
Yes.
Because we were helping create
those
what
things
was actually happening.
Like I remember, I always remember on our emailing list. That's essentially how we met was through an emailing list, a Yahoo group list.
It's like a tech group.
Yeah, it was like a tech group of like video on the internet nerds, and the dudes from YouTube, the two guys that founded YouTube were on the list, and so it was like. We were all just like, how do we compress video? Right. How do we put it on the internet? So, I felt confident leaving my job because I thought it was important enough to like try that stuff.
It seemed exciting.
It was exciting. It was new.
And we were willing to move. It's like we moved across the country from New York to San Francisco.
Right. And, yes.
That
was a crazy move.
We brought a cat. We had a little two-door car, and then the cat like sat under between your legs, and the cat box was behind my seat.
You know what's funny though? When we left New York, we didn't even own a car. Yeah. We bought it halfway through. Right. We bought it from your dad, but we had to drive to Ohio to buy the car. We were like, and we begged your dad, Dad, can we buy your car because we have to move to California?
No, we didn't beg him. He was ready to sell.
He was ready to sell, so it was perfect.
And so I guess just my point is I think that's important, especially if you're wanting to sell online.
Yeah.
It's important for us to always be willing to adapt. Because things are always changing.
Well, it reminds me of like this summer. In about a month, PayPal and eBay are separating.
Yeah.
So, we'll see what happens.
Right.
In my mind, I'm like, does that mean eBay's going to accept Bitcoin? Like, is that something that's going to happen, you know? And that could open, like, this whole other, like, if you use Bitcoin to Bitcoin, it's a peer-to-peer thing. There's no
People
fees.
are like, what's Bitcoin? But yeah.
Well, we've talked about Bitcoin, but it's a digital currency.
But I mean, I think that's the thing that we aren't afraid of any of that. Like, whatever's going to happen, what we do know is that people are going to keep buying stuff online.
Right.
So, like, that's the constant. How they buy it, what form,
right.
That may change, and we just will roll with whatever that's going to be.
Yeah.
I mean, and I think that's the issue I have when you go on the community of forums on eBay. It's just like, people are like, why can't it be like it used to? Like,
right.
I like doing it like this. Why can't it be like this?
Right.
And I'm like,
it's not like that anymore.
It's just like, that's just how it is.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I mean, no one's trying to hurt anyone's feelings. It's just we're evolving very fast.
Right. And I think that for us, just like we said in the beginning, it was like, are we still making money? Like, people have that idea. They're trying to sabotage my store. No, not really, but,
And people have asked us, like, are you going to keep selling, when you're older,
right.
60s,
Yeah.
I mean, like, what are you going to do 20
your
years
retirement
from now?
times?
And, I mean, the answer is, like, I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, I don't know. It seems it's... All we know is that this works now.
Right, exactly.
Like, when we were in San Diego, we're hanging out with your aunt and uncle, and your uncle was telling me that he likes to, like, he gets bored after doing something for about 5
years. That makes sense.
And that seems like a good kind of,
yeah,
time frame. I think that we're kind of in that kind of cycle too. It's like we started selling in 2008.
Yeah.
But we then bought the farmhouse in 2011, and then we fixed it up and got it rented by 2015 and 2014. So we are the kind of people that need to give ourselves new
challenges.
Yeah. So even though we're still doing on eBay, actually for a while now, I think about 6 years, we've kind of thrown its new things into the mix to keep it interesting.
Yeah.
I think, and that's why I think we're always like, if we start feeling bored or getting burnt out, we try and buy or scavenge brand its new stuff to sell.
Not brand new stuff.
I'm sorry.
But
it's different items.
Different, interesting. Right. I mean, like, I always say this, but like where we do the podcast is where we have this big bookshelf and it has all this glassware. I remember always being like, I hate glassware. I hate pottery. I'm not going to do any of that stuff. And I sell it like crazy. Right. So it's just like, I love it. I buy it all the time, it's because I got bored of clothes.
Yep.
So,
I mean, that's why too, we could never do a system like this is the system.
Yeah. You mean like sell a system?
Because everyone has a different equation of its responsibilities and their needs and their and the amount of risk they're willing to take. Because some people like they might have kids. Or maybe they're taking care of a parent who's old. Or, maybe they have a spouse or a partner who's handicapped or something. And that's different from us where we don't have any of that, So we all have a different equation that we have to deal with.
So there's no one, and we always say this, there's no one way of doing it, but the one thing that is constant is you have to list stuff.
Right.
You have to work at it. You can't just magically, I put 10 things up. Why aren't they selling?
Right. But, I think about, like, me and a sister. So I have a sister who basically... Okay, so me...
Yeah.
I was pretty single throughout most of my 20s.
Yeah. You're right.
No long-term...
No serious
relationship. I was just...
Marriage-type relationship.
I was just going from... My thing was about... I needed, like... for lack of a better word, kind of adventure.
Yeah, adventure.
I was like a wanderer.
Yeah.
And I was also pretty lonely too.
Yeah. But you didn't care?
Not in the worst way. It was just like, it was, there were times it was lonely. But, that was a trade-off, because of the fact that I was doing all
Do
kinds
whatever
of
you want,
kooky stuff.
hopping around Europe.
But the good thing was I also learned a lot about it's myself.
Right.
You know, because I was with myself all the time.
Yeah.
But then I think about a sister, and she had a fiance, like, in college, and they were supposed to get married. And
they owned a condo together in college.
You know, I mean, like, in her early 20s, like, that was going to happen, and then, like, I don't know, that, unfortunately, it's good to happen early, that broke up.
Right.
But then she was only single for a year.
Well, I think it was less than that, even.
And then she met another guy, and they got married, and she's had 2 kids, and, you know, and she's in her 30s now, and, like, that's her life. Like, I talked to her, she has no interest in, like, gallivanting around. Like, she's learning about herself by, like, having a couple of kids and being it's responsible.
Having 3 dogs.
Having 3 dogs. Like,
they have a very full household.
She loves that. Like, she's a real organizer and a go-getter.
She's a real, like you can tell she loves being a mom.
Yeah.
Like, that, she's like, that's my thing.
Right.
I am, like, I love running marathons.
Right. Yeah, she runs marathons and teaches, like, an aerobics
She has, like, so much energy. Like,
yeah.
I think we have energy, and then I see her, and I'm like, oh my God, woman.
Yeah. So it's different, you know.
It's it's just a different.
And it's the same way
life.
with when we're all talking about our eBay stores. You know, some people, like, they just love selling clothes.
They're good at it.
They'll do it now. They'll do it in 5 years, and that's what they do.
They thrive on that.
Some people like us don't. You know, we learn that we don't like to sell a whole lot of clothes.
I mean, we like clothes, but we like to mix it up.
Yeah,
I have to mix it up.
Yeah,
it's not fun.
Some people have figured out what they need, where they can maintain, like, you know, 300 items in their inventory and make the money that they need. We've learned that we can't do that. Like, we need to, like, really bulk up, you know. So
really bulk
again,
up.
Everyone has to get in where they need to. You know.
And I think also what's so great about eBay, and we talk about this all the time, is you can just experiment. Do some clothes. Don't like it, or like only doing men's shirts. Go for it. It's so easy to just swivel what you want to do.
So we've been selling since 2008. We, you know, worked on this farmhouse. It's now it's rented, which
someone's
is
there right now.
Yeah, somene's a whole family and a little grandkids there
with a dog and a baby,
like a little beagle. Yeah,
it's like a full house.
And this is like the first time in it's my life that I've been this grounded. You know, we've been here since 2008, so we've been here 6 years.
Yeah,
I don't think I've lived anywhere. Well, one other place, but you know.
Yeah, but
are you feeling good about, like...
Yeah, but I think...
If you need a big change?
I think the good thing is we travel pretty frequently. Right. I love coming home.
Yep.
I'm completely comfortable here. I like not living in the city. I like visiting cities.
Yep.
I like not living in the city. I don't feel like, oh, I really want to move to New York. Right. Nope.
Yeah.
I want to visit New York.
I want to visit, but do you feel like you're being pushed and, like, things are... Like, what you do during your day...
Like, challenged. Yes.
Challenges you.
Yes, and I think it's because right when we got the farmhouse rented, because we've been pushing for 3 years to get that rented, I swear, the first or second renters that were in there, we were like, oh, we did it. So what's next? Like, right. I mean, that when we finished our house, we started looking for the next right. house almost immediately,
right.
which is, like, kind of insane because I was exhausted. I was
right.
like, this took forever. It only took 2 years.
But, you know, we've been talking about some other things that we will have to talk about right now.
Well, we've talked about them a little bit.
But are you excited about...
Yeah, like, so no, I mean...
You don't want to just cruise for a while?
I just get bored. I just get bored. I mean, it's like you said, my uncle said, I just get bored where I'm like, you know, I started doing some stuff around the house. Like, I redid some lights outside that I wanted to do and some potters, and, like, I've been doing some gardening and whatever. But then I'm like, okay, how do I want to transform this other thing? That's just like, you know, I want to transform the back building into
right.
being a rental.
Right.
So how do we move my office
right.
and our storage? Because there's a bunch of storage up there too.
Right.
Like, because it's like a little apartment.
Right.
So I'm like researching all these little things that I want to do up there that will make it a cool little, like, studio rental. Yep. So that's work.
Yep.
Luckily, it's already a finished building. I don't have to, like, rehab it.
It's true.
So, you know, stuff like that to me is fun. and that keeps me feeling challenged.
Yep.
You know, like this morning, I'm just like on eBay looking for like certain light fixtures that I want in there, you know, or bedside tables or something like that. Cool. So,
because, you know, that's important to me that both of us, you, especially since Adrian, my partner, feels you're being fulfilled, that you're, you know.
But I think we're the kind of people where if you start to feel bored or like you need something more, it comes to you. And we talk about it, and we're like, what if we went on a trip? I mean, we go on trips all the time for work, so we haven't really had that feeling of like, let's go do this thing. You know, you fill that void with like, not with like buying fancy cars, but like, let's go on a trip, or let's build this thing.
Let's have an experience.
Yeah, let's like go do something.
And that's kind of what eBay is to me, is like, it's all these, it's basically like all these little experiences. Yes. It's like we go out and we scavenge, and that's a fun time, and then you're like, can I sell this thing?
That's the challenge.
And that's a whole experience.
How much can I sell it for? Is it rare? You do the research. I mean, research on some things is really fun.
I think it's interesting, too, is that this is the first time in my life, you know, the past couple of years, really only the past couple, that money's really been an integral part of my life.
Right.
Know? I mean, I've always had to make money, pay my bills. But
but it's minimal money.
I never really cared that much. As long as things got paid, I was never in debt because I just didn't own anything.
Right.
So it's interesting to, like, have a life where we own things. And
we own things, and we're trying to do projects that cost, like, hundreds of thousands of dollars. Like, it comes, you know, over time, you're like, that's how much we spent? You know, like...
It is interesting.
But then being able to know that you can work hard and actually make that amount of money and use it towards this cool thing.
Right.
I mean, we could just skate by super cheap where we live if we wanted. We could have just rented an apartment for $500 a month or whatever. But we didn't want to do that.
No, that is interesting. So, I mean, you know, it's whatever is going to come down the pipeline with eBay or with anything online. I mean... We'll just roll with it because I know people will just keep wanting to buy.
Yeah.
We just, you know, and that's what we've always done. These seller updates come up and you just kind of adapt to it. And if we don't like it, we'll find somewhere else to sell. But so far,
it's still eBay. The volume of people buying.
For the kind of things that the two of us sell, you know, the weird kind of stuff that...
Unique, one-of-a-kind items.
That's right. Although they aren't really one-of-a-kind.
Okay, not one-of-a-kind.
But that's what we call them because they are more...
They're rare.
They're more special. Okay, so let's talk about our numbers. Because we always like to, you know, kind of...
ground
our conversation so people hearing this, you know, actually hear what it... This is what it sounds like if you run a full-time store.
Yeah.
You know, or... what it could sound like.
What it could. And some people's numbers are a lot bigger than ours.
So we sold, basically, we made twice as much this week as last week.
It probably helps that our handling time wasn't 10 business days.
I wonder,
you don't know.
Because we didn't change it. So, I mean, we didn't really change that much stuff.
That's right.
I think this is a good example of it's a random kind of like, you know, we have no control, but it all even out. So we sold 44 items.
Right, that's a good amount.
Yeah, I mean, we made about $1,800.
Good number.
Yep. The highest price was $170. We sold 20 bottles of that nail polish.
Okay.
And we'll talk about that in a bit.
Let's just pause and do a little dance, though.
Okay.
Because that's the first sale of nail polish.
We'll talk about that. So the average price sold was about $41.
That's a great average price.
And so, you know, so that's good for us, you know. We But that's the funny thing is we were still on a plane in San Diego for, you know, part of that week and then traveling, coming home. I mean, we didn't list anything this week.
We didn't list a single thing.
I want to make clear for people, we have not listed a single item on eBay for 4 weeks.
Yeah, a month.
Yeah. Hang on a second. I want to say that again very clearly. We have not listed anything on eBay in 4 weeks.
That's where the big inventory comes in.
But yet we have continued to keep selling. And so I actually looked, and in the past 30 days since we last put something on eBay, we've grossed about $7,000.
That's amazing. Yeah. What? Yeah. That's crazy.
But that's about the average of what we do,
right?
You know, during these kind of months. Like we can make as much as like 12 or 13,000 in the crazy holidays, and then we can make between 6 and 9,000 during these
depending.
These just normal kind of months. And so I think we could do that. I think we could not list something for a whole another month.
Yeah.
Maybe even 2 and still make about that much money.
And we have enough inventory that our numbers would go down, but it would still be, we have almost 4,000 items. We have 3,779 items.
So, I think that's the interesting thing, though, is that, I still feel very active in eBay because we're answering questions, taking offers,
shipping.
We've still been taking a lot of photos. We've been definitely still buying and photographing stuff. We just haven't actually
listed.
But that's the cool thing why we like eBay is that it's so flexible.
Right.
We put in all this work up front.
Right.
We can then not list a single thing, sell for a month, maybe even 2.
Yeah.
And we have had time to then work on our other business.
Other stuff, yeah.
Like our rental, we're still trying to figure out the flow of work. It's been taking up some time.
Right.
I think we'll get to a point where it can kind of be on autopilot.
Yeah.
But now each time we have a turnover or we're dealing with a guest, it's kind of a big, it takes a lot of our energy.
Yeah.
Because it's still kind of new to us.
Like cleaning's a lot of physical energy, but even just meeting people and it's a lot of mental energy.
Because it's still a new kind of business for us. So it's been nice that eBay still is paying our bills. We're still making good cash, but yet we have this time to do this.
Yeah.
And then we had time to travel across the country and do another job and get paid for that.
It was like triple jobs.
So I think that's what we love about eBay and why we're such proponents of big inventories is that it lets you float. Because I could see another thing where one of us gets hurt. Or one of our parents gets sick.
You have to go do something.
And we have to be out of pocket for a couple weeks.
Right, right.
We have that ability without, freaking out.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's very flexible.
So, and then I looked at last year's its numbers. And so we basically made the same amount. We made about $1,800.
38 items sold, yeah.
Yeah, and, we made it, and the average price was it's $50. His last year.
That was really good.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know if that's really an interesting number, but it's good.
Yeah, it's interesting to see the comparison.
So what do we sell this week?
Okay,
interesting things that sold.
Yes, not boring shirts and hats, but I do show those in the video. Actually, I will say this, the next video will be quite long because I show almost everything we sold while we were away, plus this week.
How many things did we sell while we were away?
I think it was about 50.
50
and that was 10 days.
Yep.
We were gone 10 or 11 days because we left a day early.
And the interesting thing with that is that we now have a thing when we travel. No more vacation. So
don't put it on vacation mode.
Well, people can if they want. We don't. So
that's what I'm saying. We don't.
Okay, yeah. So we just change our handling time.
Yeah.
And then we actually don't even email people when they buy. Because we would send them a note, we're away, it's going to take 10 days. But I just thought, it says it already.
It does say it.
It's official. And
eBay recognizes that it says that.
And so we had about 4 people email us and be like, where's my thing? And you're like, well, it says, it's going to get shipped on this day. And they're like, okay, that's cool.
Yeah, I didn't have a problem. Yeah, I think this was the first time that we didn't send messages. Right. And I was a little nervous about it. But honestly, part of it was our job was so taxing. Yes. I was like, I don't even want to think about it.
Well, it's also, I've heard people say, I'm going on a camping trip and I'm not going to be able to talk to anyone. So how do I do that? And I think that's the way to handle it is just change the handling time.
Right.
So they can't do anything.
They can't say item not received because eBay says this is not within the shipping time.
And I don't think I think if they tried to leave you bad stars for a shipping time or something, they can't because it's
within the handling time. And actually, I got a defect for low shipping time for one guy for the last time we were away, and I got it removed.
Right.
I can talk about that later, but yeah.
Okay, so these are some of the cool things we sold.
Okay, I do want to mention very first on the list is we did sell 20 bottles of nail polish.
Right. So this is our story where we had bought over 800 bottles of nail polish
for $300.
For $300, brand new.
So it was 35 cents each, I think. That's what it calculates.
Right. So we sold 20 of them for $170.
We took our store is on sale right now. Everything's on sale in our store for 15% off. So it was lower than it wasn't 10. It should have been $200, but everything's on sale, so it was $170, and which is incredible.
Yeah, so it's cool. So if we sell just 20 more bottles, even at that price, which is a really low price compared to what other people sell for, we'll have made back our money, and then we have like over 700 bottles, which is pure profit.
But that's kind of amazing.
But that's the thing, though. I bet it's going to take 2 years for it all to sell, and so it's just like a little pipeline.
Yeah, it's a pipeline. It's just like everything else, Yeah.
And I do want to make a point too. So when we did the interview with Amazing Taste, she says she puts her store on
sale all the time.
It's like a perma sale, but she will end it and start it again.
Yeah.
And she's thinking like people enjoy a sale. And we've tried sales before. It never really worked for us. So we were like, well, let's just try it again. So we tried it again. And again, I don't know. I mean, things are selling, but they're like selling like they always do.
Yeah, so that's the hard thing that you can't track that information. You're like, unless someone said, I bought this because I was looking for stuff on sale.
Well, I mean, the one thing we can track is the amount we sell. So we are not selling any more during the sale time than we would sell.
Do.
Now, whether or not individual items are being bought because they're on sale, I don't know. But for me, I'm not impressed. I guess if it makes people feel good and, they know how much they have invested in an item, and so they're like, who cares if it's a 20% sale? I don't care.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the thing that bugs me is when, like, we have an item, we put it on sale, and then someone then makes an offer
that's even lower.
And it's like,
you're like, it's on sale already.
Yeah.
But,
so anyway, it is what it is.
Okay, so another thing we sold that was cool were these prints. It was a reproduction print of this guy who's really famous who did all the artwork and stuff around the time of like the Moulin Rouge, so like the 1870s or something.
We're not going to say
I'm not going to try to pronounce his name.
Butcher it, and then people will email us.
His first name is Henry. Yeah. Just look it up.
And so they're really cool. I found them.
Yeah, Jay's about
Thank you very much.
Jay says, this guy, this guy, and then I like smack him with my elbow.
So they look like they're from the 50s?
I think the thing about these prints is you can buy prints of this guy's work. You can buy a poster,
all day long,
new, printed in China, whatever. These prints are from the 40s or 50s. Right. I can tell that they're vintage.
They kind of have an aged look, and they're in these cool frames.
These colored frames that match the print. So to me, I'm like, these are mid-century prints, so they're even cooler.
So I bought all of them for $10.
There were 6 of them.
Yeah, for $10.
This guy bought 5 of them. He must have just not wanted the other print for $50 each.
So we made $250, which is very
incredible.
Nice.
When
so nice.
My phone was going off, cha-ching, because he bought them all outright and then just said combine the shipping and give me the money back, which is what I did.
It's nice.
I just looked at my phone. I'm like, what's going on? It's so good. So another really hilarious sale is people collect pencils.
Yep.
So weird. One time we sold this box of pencils. I listed it and it sold within like 5 minutes. I was like, what the hell? So I looked at what this lady bought. This is before you couldn't see what people bought. All she bought was pencils. And at that moment I was like, oh, these people exist.
Yep.
So we were in Amsterdam and we went to, this is not this year, I think it was the year before. No, I think it was this. Well, I don't know. It was in Amsterdam. We went to a sale and we bought this box of pencils, brand new in the box, vintage, probably from the 70s or 80s, Dutch, super cool. And we sold them they were $36 to someone who was German. So it was through the global shipping program.
Really?
You want to know how much he paid for shipping? He bought them for $36. He paid $40 to have them shipped. 40. He spent $80 on these pencils.
Wow. Yeah.
Whatever, dude.
So, but that also took us 12 months to sell.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Whatever.
Went to the right person, that's for sure.
But, it's cool. We've been selling things we got in Amsterdam, so it's neat.
Back to people in Europe.
But it's always good to me to see that, because when we are over there and we enjoy scavenging, but it is, it does take work to, pack it all and then carry it all, because we don't like to pay to ship anything home. And so I do want to make sure when we're doing it, we're making good income.
And we do sell stuff. We actually sold it was either 3 or 4 things that we got from Amsterdam last year in 1 week, which was crazy.
So the other thing we sold was, during Christmas time, we were staying in Manhattan, and we were kind of doing an experiment, because we lived there, or I lived there for a while, and Ryan had been there too for a year. And we were like, what if we lived here? Could we find things in New York?
Right.
So we were going to Housing Works, which is kind of a really fancy thrift store.
We looked through the trash, clearly.
We looked through the trash, and then we were doing Craigslist.
Yes.
And Ryan found a Toomey backpack, and Toomey is a really fancy brand.
Yeah, Toomey is a fancy brand, and we looked through the free stuff on Craigslist, clearly, but a lot of it's furniture and stuff, so we're like, we can't buy that. So we were just looking, what's stuff for sale? So this guy had this Toomey backpack. It wasn't all leather. If it was all leather, it would be worth a lot of money, but it was mostly canvas with a leather top. And I talked him down to 30. I think he had it up for 50, and I was like, I'll give you 30, and I'll come up, right now, wherever you are. Right. So he said yes. So I paid 30. I met him on the street corner. It was really funny. And we sold it for $165 this week.
And so, and it took about 4 months to sell, 3 months. Yeah. Because we just enlisted it in February. So, I
wish I would have been able, I think I had it up for $225, but I took $165. I was like, oh yes, I will take that offer.
Of course, that's just one price point. But I think if you lived in it's New York, and didn't have a job, but scavenged for a job, because obviously Ryan had to buy it online, and then if you took a train uptown,
I went to 96th Street, which was pretty far.
So, all of that takes time. But I feel like you could do that. Even if you got 2 items a day,
right?
Kind of a high dollar item.
And you can get we see Faith is in New York. She's a commenter. Flim. She's known as Flim. Flim.
Flim.
Okay, Flim. So she's a great example where she scavenges really high-end stuff, because New York is where the high-end stuff is. People just are like, these shoes, You're like, what?
It's all about, people don't realize that it's actually not that expensive to be there. It can be expensive. It's like if you're going out to eat all the time and wearing nice clothes.
Go to movies a million
taking
times.
Cabs everywhere. You can live the millionaire lifestyle, but as long as you have a place to live that you can afford, everything else is pretty normal.
You can scavenge.
You just cook at home.
Yeah.
A Subway, you get just a month-long
pass.
Unlimited pass.
Oh, yeah.
There's lots of free stuff to do. The parks are great.
Yeah.
99-cent pizza places,
those are my favorite.
Right. So it can be cheap. Again, it all just depends on how.
It's all about affordable housing. Yeah. That's hard to find sometimes, most of the time. But so that was a great sale. Another sale that's really silly and funny is this broken SLR camera. It's an old Minolta. I've had it forever, 3 or 4 years.
A box lot of old cameras.
And I sold most of the lenses for good prices. They were clean and whatever. But I had this camera for so long, and it was giving me this trouble where when I bulk edited for handling time, it kept telling me it was in the wrong category. I would change the category. It would never stay, blah, blah, blah. I hated this camera. I was like, get rid of this thing. It was $9.99, best offer, on sale for 15% off. This guy gave me an offer of $3. Jay laughed at me because I was like, yes, take this offer. I want to get rid of this thing so bad.
We probably, that's one item where we probably broke even as far as like listing fees and all that.
Yeah, I broke even, but I got rid of it. And this guy buys old cameras for parts, I think.
Now, another sale we did, which I think was interesting, was we sold like a silver like hippie ring.
Yeah, so this ring was it's sterling silver. It was marked 925, and I tested it. I could tell it was silver. And it had this mother of pearl. I guess that's a shell. Yeah. This gorgeous like mother of pearl piece.
But it was all like a molten like
yeah,
it looked really kind of,
it was like
crazy,
cool
like,
hippie.
Like I'm on LSD, and I'm like, whoa.
Okay, that's quite enough.
But we sold it for $106.
So we sold it for $106. I think I bought it for like
19.
Yeah, it was like 15 to 19 at an estate sale.
Right.
Because I knew it was silver, so I was like, and I had researched when I was buying it. I researched mother of pearl silver rings because I'm like, do these sell for $50 or $100? Well, they sell for $100. They sell for over $100.
But the interesting part of this story, and this is when we learned things. So we learned about a new like subculture.
Okay.
And we called them the zombie ragdolls.
Zombie ragdolls. Okay.
And sorry if anyone's a zombie ragdoll. It's not a bad thing. It's just a weird look.
Okay, so here's the thing. Watchcount.com. Love this site. Use it 1,000,000 times a day now to look up what people buy. Because eBay doesn't let you do it anymore.
So you just put in their name,
username.
And then it shows you what they've bought.
What they've bought. Cool. Or sold, whatever. Yeah. But this person... So this woman... She bought this ring for $100. I'm like, that's a lot of money for a ring. What was it that she saw in this, you know? So I looked up her profile, and I saw that she was buying this brand called Magnolia Pearl. Never heard of it. But I could see the style. We tried to describe the style, and it took us like 20 minutes back and forth trying to describe it. It's like steampunk, but not steampunk. But it's southern, hippie, Victorian,
like
zombie ragdoll.
Like a wasteland, like after the apocalypse, and you only have rags to wear.
Like lacy, frilly rags.
Right.
And like Victorian combat boots that aren't laced up.
Right.
Like, if you Google Magnolia Pearl and you look on her website, you're like, oh.
And people pay a lot of money for this.
Hundreds of dollars for one piece of clothing.
Right.
Especially if it's like her brand, because she's like a designer. So I kind of knew that was a look. I knew the steampunk thing and the hippie thing, but I didn't know it was kind of like a combo.
Because, like it's very like a feminine, it's not like steampunk like with like metal and, goggles.
It's not like industrial steampunk.
It's like feminine, but it's like,
like it's almost
cotton,
like Victorian farm girl punk.
Right.
So
anyway, we're still trying to kind of learn, and this is only interesting for those of you hearing this, is that this is how we learn about new items and new styles. So when you find that like weird piece of junk, it's just a piece of trash, you pick it up, but then you put it in a different context. And then I pick this thing up, and I'm like, oh no, it's like, the magnolia rose.
Magnolia pearl, like Victorian hippie kind of deal.
So we have to figure out like what keywords would
work.
Like
it's not Magnolia Pearl. Like you don't want to use that because it's not her brand. But what kind of keywords are hippie Victorian?
And that's
or something.
how you take an item that might only sell for $5 on eBay, and then it sells for $50 or more.
Like if you look on Magnolia Pearl, if you look on her website of like what she sells, she will sell a vintage looking shirt that's hand crocheted with holes in it for $300. Like, I'm not joking. That's her price range. Because it's like handmade, hand distressed, whatever. I mean, these girls have these pants that look like farmer old man pants with like moth holes all over them. And they're like $500. So... So
there you go.
I'm going to find moth-hole old man wool pants at the thrift store all day long and sell them to these ladies. Like,
if you can.
So that was a new, interesting thing that I'm sure people have heard of Magnolia Pearl, so I'm sure people will talk about her.
Okay, so what we did this past week. So we were in San Diego.
Yes.
And we flew
Beautiful
back
San Diego.
on Monday.
Yes.
Long day, didn't get in until 2 a.m. Then,
yes, we were very tired.
Tuesday was just basically kind of waking up and just like catching up with just being at home again.
Yeah.
Cool thing was on Wednesday or Thursday, so after a couple days of catching up, packing, 50 things, we had to turn over our rental house once.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Then we went scavenging.
Yes.
And to me, this is so important. Like, it's always a balance, but scavenging to us is so important because I felt like refreshed.
Yeah.
We probably went and spent about 5 hours.
We hit every place that our normal places.
Right. We kind of like, it felt like we'd been away for so long.
It was only like 2 weeks.
It's been 2 weeks, and we just went through all of them, just to see, and I felt like, all this new stuff.
Because there was all this new stuff, because people had gotten shipments, gotten donations.
And we filled our car
filled the car.
For about $150.
Yeah, it was about $150. I mean, there was, actually, and I want to say 100 of that was 2 rugs that we bought.
True. Yeah, we got 2 old rugs.
So if we hadn't, we splurged on the rugs because we were like, I know those are worth more than $50 each. But without that, we would have filled our car for $50.
Yep. And I think that's a thing because the reason why it energizes me is sometimes just the mundane details of doing an eBay store can kind of wear on you. Like if you're just in the middle of just like always packing and listing, like
photographing,
it's just you're like it's just like another detail. It's just like all these details and people are emailing you like, tell me this size, and you're like, it's so fun to go out and buy stuff. Now on the other hand, you just can't only eat candy, only scavenge. You're only like one guy said, I go to every car boot sale because someone may be getting that thing. Which
is what Jay always says about the flea market. We have to get there. Someone's picking up something that I'm going to buy. I have to buy. I'm
he could be putting his hand on it right now.
It's like, oh my God.
So it's good to balance that. But it was really great. And then I love it. I think it's even more fun to me when we come and we unload the car. Our neighbors probably think we're crazy because we're always bringing in
garbage bags,
carloads of stuff, and we lay it out on our floor. And that's when it's fun because you have time. We go through it.
You do a little research on our phones. While we're looking at it.
You can affirm whether or not what you thought it was, it really is.
Yeah, exactly.
You can actually do a research and learn about something new. Like, wow, I didn't know about this thing.
Yeah, I think it's good to switch it up.
Yep.
Because, I had to pack a ton of stuff, and I was exhausted because we'd been traveling and working and blah, blah, blah. And it was really fun to just go, let's go treasure hunting, in the middle of the week.
Yeah.
So, that was good.
It was good.
Yeah.
It was fun. And plus, I just feel like we're getting better at scavenging, too. We got a lot of stuff that's going to sell for, could be over $100. Like
each, yeah.
Those 2 rugs will definitely sell for over $400. I think.
Yeah, I think so.
But some of the other items we got too were worth like we got these Kugi sweaters.
Yeah, I don't know if they're pronounced Kugi or Kugi, but they're those Australian. They're Cosby sweaters,
right? And that's the first time we ever found them, and we found them. Okay. Hang on a second here.
Okay.
I got to do a little rant. When for us. Scavenging has taken us time to learn how to do it good,
right?
And sometimes
to do it well,
to do it real good, and we're getting gooder at it.
You're an English major? What? Yeah, gooder.
I sometimes hear people. They're like, "When I go to Goodwill, it's also expensive."
Yes,
or
this has happened a few times.
Or it's getting shopped out. Like I can't find anything. I'm like,
there's nothing here.
For us, we find all of our good stuff not at Goodwill. You can still find stuff there, and anytime we're near a Goodwill, I'll stop by and we'll find some stuff. But the best stuff we find is when you're digging,
literally digging through crap.
And I was trying to explain on the blog, like for us, it seems like if you go into certain parts of town, there's always some empty storefront that pops up with a guy who's buying storage lockers or he's buying house estates, and he's just trying to sell his junk and he doesn't care about the stuff he's selling in the store, so he's trying to move it. And we love those places. You go in and it's your dig. They aren't on. It's your phone. You know,
it's not on the map.
He might only exist for a year or so before he shuts down, but these places are out there. And like we were at one of these places, and they had all these clothes, and it was $5 fill-a-bag. Yeah, and that's when we found those Coogee sweaters. I'm like, holy moly.
When Jay throws them over to me, he's like, check these out. And I was like, because I've never found those. And they sell for a lot of money.
All these shoes. But that's the thing, though. I guess that's why Goodwill's good, is that it's always there. And you can go 5 times a week, and they're always putting out it's new stuff. And the kind of places we're talking about, like, again, it's not consistent. You know, it depends on what the person is bringing in. And like I said, they may close down because they're kind of fly-by-night businesses. But that's the thing, though. That's where you really get the good deals.
Right.
And plus, it takes time. Like, I hear people, it seems like they want to be able to just go during their lunch break. They have 40 minutes. They want to buy all their inventory for a good deal and find really good stuff and then be done. It's just like, you can't have those kind of parameters and expect to be really successful. Like, it takes time.
I think also what Jay teaches me, and he teaches me this every single time we go into town, because I'm very focused. I'm like, we're going here, we're going to the farmhouse, we're cleaning it, whatever. Like, I'm so focused. And Jay's like, let's just stop. Look, they're open. Let's just stop there. And I'm like, I don't want to, whatever. And inevitably, you'll find... Sometimes you don't find stuff. Sometimes you're like, we found one thing.
But they might have just had a new shipment.
And they had a new shipment, when we got there, and we shopped the hell out of that store. We were like, she was laughing at us because we made these, 3 huge piles. They love us because we're just like, we shopped them out, but you just have to be willing to stop.
Right. And again, what was going to just be like a 10-minute stop by, I mean, we ended up scavenging for 5 hours because we went to several other places.
We just stopped at every place.
We're there for an hour and a half because
depending.
Got to dig, and we
were really digging.
I just really want to, make that clear for people. I mean, maybe other people can go to Goodwill and find everything they need in 40 minutes, and that's great. But if you're finding that you aren't able to get enough good inventory at a single place, you just got to broaden your horizons.
And this image of my mom at Savers just popped in my head. My mom will spend 3 hours, much to my chagrin, because I'm like, I'm done. Because I don't shop at Savers very often, but she is so meticulous, and she'll find amazing stuff.
She puts on her
Bluetooth
headphone, call up one of her chatty friends.
She just chat, or me if I'm not with her. But it's funny because she finds
she's good.
I'll go through the store and whatever. If I'm visiting, I'm like whatever. I'm not like super scavenging. She will find stuff. I'm like, where? I did not even see that, because she's just meticulous.
She's like one of those animals that's very specialized, and she's like so good at Savers.
Yes,
like that's her
she's
place.
Perfect at Savers.
She knows everyone, and she goes through
she knows the managers,
single rack, and she'll go through every part of the
single
store.
Thing. Yeah. So that's another thing. She loves doing that. She loves shopping. She loves shopping. So she's perfect at doing that,
And she's got good taste and a good eye, and
she always brings a coupon.
Right. So anyway, I just wanted to kind of touch on that, Goodwill is always a place where it's new people start. I mean, that's one of the places we started, and we actually dug in there for a year and a half.
Yeah.
Was basically that was. I mean,
I bought shoes.
I mean, I would go to Goodwill almost every day just to see what its new stuff, and I would be getting wingtips, wingtips like crazy.
Because no one was buying wingtips, so.
All right, so we wanted to briefly talk about our rental property that is now kind of in parallel with our eBay business.
Yes.
And I feel like, we think it's a smart for any eBayer to have another kind of business too.
Sure. if you can do it.
If you can.
Yeah.
It's cool. You know, I mean, it could be a rental property. It could be anything that I think that you could kind of do online or manage online.
Right.
You know.
Uber. Be an Uber driver.
Oh, my God. Okay, so this past week has been good. Only one night this week is not booked.
Right.
So basically 6 of 7 nights are booked. It's, you know, this is what we love when someone has like a weekend that extends like into a Monday and then in Tuesday and then a weekend that starts like on a Thursday. Like
yeah. God, that's great.
It could be great. And now this weekend is Memorial Day. It's weekend, so it's like one of the first kind of big holidays that we've experienced.
Yeah.
We woke up and we had like 8 inquiries into our place for a weekend, even though our schedule says we're booked. People are so hungry.
They were checking, are you sure it's not canceled? And so that to us, because it was so last minute, like on Thursday and Friday, people were like, can we book tonight? You know? So we're like, next year we have to up the price because even last minute, people are gonna book it.
Yeah, so we just had it at a normal price, and someone booked it at the normal price. But we
like a month ago or something.
Are changing for 2016. We're going to go through all the federal holidays and up the price on the holidays.
Yeah. So that's kind of just a new learning thing where we're like, holidays and most weekends, especially in the summer, are going to get booked no matter what.
And that's what's interesting. I looked, so all of our weekends are booked. All summer long into September.
Yeah.
So the weekends don't seem to be the hard thing to book, but then we have like these huge holes during the week.
The weekdays.
Because very often people just want like a Friday, Saturday, and then they don't want anything else.
Right.
We do have some bookings where people will book a whole week, and we like those, or long.
Of course, we love those.
It's weekends, so we're still trying to figure out how to fill weekdays. Like we've tried changing the price, we post on Craigslist, but it's kind of like with eBay. Sometimes no one wants the stuff. Like no one wants to book. Like no one wants it. So there's nothing we can do.
Yeah, I mean, you just can't control it. But Jay has an amount, he says if we can book, like this is our first year, and you said if we can book 10 nights a month, we're successful.
Well, I did its numbers, and I was like, as long as we book 10 nights a month, we'll be paying back our mortgage and making some income.
Right.
And so we've been averaging 17 to 25 nights.
Yeah,
so far,
doubling.
Which is great.
Yeah, almost doubling.
So it's been really nice. I mean,
so it's been good. But we're like, super go-getters, and we're like, every night must be booked.
Like next week, we have Monday through Thursday is not booked.
Right.
During the week. And I don't know what to do. Like, there's just,
what can you do?
Again, it's just that feeling of helplessness.
You can bring the price down.
Which we did.
And you're like, what else can I do?
Yeah.
I can't bring it down that much, or it's not worth it I'd rather it be empty.
So, we've had a lot of people message us and talk on the blog about, because I guess people hear about us, it's renting, and they send horror stories. And, just like with eBay, I'm assuming at some point we're going to get someone who rents who's a naughty person.
Right.
Overly dirty or like a little abusive. Hasn't happened yet. So far, we've been having guests that actually clean the house.
I mean, the last people that we, cleaned up after stripped all the beds, put everything in a pile for us to wash. I've even had people wash stuff in the washer, like actually start the wash. Right. Because there's a washer at the farmhouse.
I cleaned downstairs, and they actually were, they were either super clean eaters or they had wiped everything down.
I think they did.
It's like the stove was clean. So we actually, because I'm like this, I like to clean.
Right.
Because I'm a neat person. We actually keep like a bottle of cleaner, like a spray bottle, and,
like some towels.
And paper towels. So, and the broom is in an obvious place, because I think a lot of people who maybe are like us, they stay and they like to tidy.
They want to tidy up because, like, when we stayed in San Diego, we stayed at this guy's place, but I didn't want to leave it a mess. I mean, we tidied up and made sure our towels were hung up and drying. And it's not like a hotel where, it's a little more anonymous. Not to say you should trash a hotel room, but you can't really tidy up a hotel room.
I mean, I'm like that in hotel. Like, I don't like to just throw stuff around.
Or leave stuff on the ground.
Anyway, it's been good. And so we obviously still have to deep clean after every person, but so far it's been nice, I mean, it's different if we go and there's like hot sauce spilled all over the floor and like Oh, and the other thing is that we like to do work for ourselves and not pay people to do work that we can do,
like cleaning the house.
It's for ourselves, right? Because we want to make
we don't want to pay someone to clean the house.
But we made an executive decision, and Ryan allowed me this. We hired someone to cut grass it's this year
at the farmhouse and at our house. Yeah,
I mean, I'm the man, so I've been cutting the grass since we owned homes,
right?
And we even bought like a used riding mower. But you know what? I learned I'm just not good at that, and what I'm not good at is maintaining a gas-powered engine and the weed eater. Like, what happens is like you go and you try and serve it, it doesn't work. I don't know what to do, so I have to like load it up on the truck and take it to the guy to fix it. Other guys, I'm sure, know how to like fool with that stuff.
But you get to the point, because, okay, here's the thing. We don't have like a little tiny postage stamp lawn. We have 2 acres at our house and 2 acres at the farmhouse. Right. It's a lot. It's a lot of grass.
And I guess, too, now that I think about it, that's one of those things where we shouldn't have bought a used mower. We should have just bought, like, a new one, but those cost
sometimes thousands of dollars.
$1,200 to $3,000.
Yeah.
Anyway, we made the decision. We're paying someone, like, $75 to, like, mow the grass.
Yeah.
Twice a month, Like,
it's just like,
it's worth the money, and man, when it's like 99 degrees out and humid, I'm gonna feel good about it.
And also, like, for the rental, there really isn't any time. I mean, not when you're doing a flip and you're cleaning the whole house. I mean, it takes a couple hours to do that place, and we'd have to be like, I'm coming over to mow the grass.
So that's an example where I'm just glad to pay, a pro that knows how to maintain equipment. He comes in the truck. He gets it done
so fast.
His stuff is like hanging off the side of his truck, and he's like,
Because I've never had anyone do that before, so it's cool to have someone who, he's just a pro. He's just like zip, 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 done. So that is a nice, like, luxury. Being in my office looking down, I'm like, they're dudes cutting our grass.
So this month we're going to take the extra money from our rental, the profit, and we're going to throw it at a mortgage. So that's going to be exciting.
We had talked about that a little while ago, about making an extra payment to our loans. So that's very exciting.
It is exciting.
Because that was the plan, and we stuck to the plan.
Because I'm telling you, if we have no debt at all, like no, like when people buy a house, it's just assume you're going to have a mortgage for 30 years. We don't want that.
Yeah. I
want to pay it off, not owe anyone, and then it's great.
Then do something else.
Okay, customer issues. So,
yes.
So we are having someone bought a belt from us, and they messaged us said it wasn't the
size we said it was.
Yeah.
And it was that Mexican pesos belt. You'll see it in the video. It was a belt made of Mexican pesos.
And so, it didn't have a size on it, so we just
measured it.
I measured how long it was. She says it wasn't as long as we said it was. And she then sent a message, so she opened up a case or hassle-free return.
A return, right.
And then she did another message and said, I don't want to get charged a
restocking fee.
Which I don't think that she would anyway.
Okay, let me tell you what she did, though.
Yeah.
She opened a return, but didn't say item not as described. She said item doesn't fit.
Oh.
And which is weird. I'm like, if you didn't want to get charged, shipping and restocking fee, why did you choose item didn't fit? Like, I don't know.
Interesting. Yeah. So anyway, it's one of those ones where I don't know. We just said, if you think we did something wrong,
just return it.
No problem.
Full refund.
Pay everything.
I just wanted to make them happy. I mean, I actually made you write them because I was just like, I was in a haze of shipping.
Right.
I was just like, I don't know. Just you deal with it.
No, it's just one of those examples of just someone's not happy, if they think we did something wrong, then we'll just eat it and just like, why get into a big fight about it?
Yeah, it's just a belt.
And then you were on the phone with eBay this week.
Twice I called eBay. So I called eBay while we were in San Diego to get a negative removed. We had talked about it before. This woman bought these shoes. She said they didn't fit. She opened a return case that they didn't fit. We're like, fine, a hassle-free return. And then she closed the return case and messaged us, I want to open a case item not as described. How do I do that? I didn't say anything. Then she left us a negative feedback because we didn't say anything.
And did not send them back.
She didn't mail them back for a refund or anything. And so I called eBay and they said no. They can't do the negative feedback, take it away. I clearly did not believe them. So when I got home, I got on the phone, got a really nice rep in the Philippines. The other one was in the U.S. I don't know if it makes a difference. Not normally, and she removed it. Within 5 minutes, it was gone.
And because she was so nice, didn't you then hit her up? Oh,
no, okay. It was a second rep. I called the next day because, as Jay reminds me, I need to look at the defects on our dashboard. And there were 3 defects that I thought were justifiably removable. One of them, they told me they were going to remove 2 weeks ago, and they didn't. So I told her, there's several on here that should be removed. And I got 3 defects removed. One was for shipping time, even though I had my handling time set to 10 days. I don't know how he was able to ding me on shipping time, and he gave me positive feedback. So, but they took 3 defects away. Yeah. So now I'm obsessed with getting defects removed. I'm going to call so many times and be like, because actually that negative feedback that we got that got removed, we have a defect for it. I'm like, please remove this.
Yeah.
It's just, you have to keep an eye on it. It's really annoying, but...
I mean, this is, if you're a person that's new to selling on eBay, this is one of the pain in the asses.
Yes.
Is this new defect system. And unfortunately, it's something you have to add to its process, where we have to look at it every couple days. Yeah. And we call once a week or so.
I swear I call once a week.
Yeah, and you just have to kind of fight them and find the right person who's willing to take it off.
I mean, if it's not justified, like I've had people do item not as described because they said there's like a hole in the sweater, and I'm like, they were right. And can't fight that.
Right, and the reason why it's important is, number one, is you can be a top-rated seller if you keep under a certain percentage of defects. If you get a funny badge, I think it probably helps you in your search rankings too. But also, especially if you're going to be new and if you don't have a lot of things being sold, if you get above a certain percentage, eBay can suspend you or even cancel at your store. So it's really important if you're worried about that.
You just got to stay on top of it. Like, I feel like defects will add up, and you don't think that any of them, like, oh, I shouldn't get a defect for that. Oh, well, it's on there, so call.
But the most important thing for us is money. So if we ship within a day and we have top-rated seller badge, we get 20% off our final value fees, and we sell enough where it saves us $200 to $300 a month, and that's pretty good.
Helpful. Yeah. It adds up over the year. So let's talk about news.
So some eBay news.
Links that people sent us. Wow, that's amazing.
So these are things that mainly some people either emailed me or I found it's myself. These are both things that people emailed me. Supposedly Griff has said, the eBay guy, that eBay is going to push entire stores down, the store's inventory, if they find that you have duplicate
listings.
So someone, I guess, I don't know, made a tool where you can put in your name and then it spits out what is a duplicate. And we actually had 3 that were exact same.
Yeah, and actually 2 of them were full-on mistakes. Like, it was some women's blazer from like 3 years
and
ago.
I think you just copy and paste it.
I changed the description and all the information. I forgot to change the title. So I fixed those. And then one was, I had 2 of the same hats, but one had like a ding on it, and I didn't want to like show them to, together as quantity 2. And I hadn't changed the title enough. So I really changed the title. Like, this is a totally different hat.
So I will put this link on the blog.
So helpful.
It's cool. And then another site that Mark actually emailed me. He's always finding cool sites.
I never heard of this.
Yeah, so you can...
What's it called? It's called checkaflip.com?
Yeah. So, yeah, it's a cool site where you can just type in the name of an item, any item, and then it tells you the completed, the things that they sell for, the its price that they sell for, and its percent that actually gets sold. So so that way, as you can see, are these really popular? Are they not popular?
Like, can you flip them?
Right.
That's why it's called check a flip.
Check a flip.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I'm gonna check that out.
Yeah, I mean, it just gives you more info, and it really, eBay gives you the same kind of info for the most part, but the site seems to kind of show it to you in a better way than eBay does.
Right.
eBay gets a little bit confusing sometimes.
Well, that's what's funny about this this duplicate listing tool. It's almost like, why doesn't eBay tell you that? Like, show me the ones that I've accidentally, or... I mean, for me, it was an accident. I don't want to have duplicate listings because eBay really hates that. So it's helpful to sellers to be like, which ones do I need to fix, you know?
And then the other thing is, so this past week was the 20th, and as we all know, eBay on that day of every month will make your judgment on...
If you're a top-rated seller.
Yeah, are you a top-rated seller? Did you keep your top-rated seller? So you can check it's per performance link.
Right.
And it will tell you...
So are we top-rated sellers still?
We're top-rated sellers.
Oh, good. I'm so glad.
Yeah. And the interesting thing, it's for us, we would always lose it when we traveled because we put our store on vacation but wouldn't change our handling time.
Right.
So we would always lose it because we would...
Not ship within our handling time.
Yeah. So... I don't know why we didn't think about this earlier. So now we just change our handling time. So even if it's 10 days, we stay top-rated.
We don't get the final value feed discounts on those items, which is fine, but we keep our status.
Right. So,
that's where it gets confusing.
Right.
But, yay, that makes me happy.
So that works for us.
Yeah.
Okay, things we learned in the comments this week.
You're scaring people in the comments. People are afraid of you.
No, I think I had this new kind of identity on the blog. I call it like the trash elf computer. So basically there are people, a lot of people post anonymously. I don't care. That's fine. So people come on anonymously and they say things like, I can't find anything anywhere. Where I live, I just can't find anything. Yeah. And so the trash shelf computer will just say, okay, then just quit. It's like, that's...
the logical explanation.
I don't know what else to do. Like, there just has to be logic applied to what everyone says. I mean, if you really think you live in a part of the country where there's just no waste, there's no excess, everything is being bought up, everything's too expensive, then I guess it's just not going to work for you. Or just move someplace else, because it gets tiring always saying the same thing. We'll go to auctions, go to estate sales, go to different parts of town, try buying on Craigslist, go to yard sales on weekends, community church thrifts.
There's a plethora of places.
Free cycle.
Craigslist.
So if none of those things work, like you live in those rare parts of America where just everyone buys just the right amount of stuff and doesn't get rid of anything, then it's just not worth it. Right. So I feel like I'm tired of like arguing with people and those places could very well exist. Right. We don't live in those places. A lot of people don't live in those places. Right. So I'm going to now be the computer. Like, you input info, facts, none of this works. Yeah. So then out the other side is going to be like, all right, then stop doing it, you know?
I think also just a little side note that's similar to that, and we've been getting a lot of emails like this. It's not so much on the comments, but people are, I mean, we said this in the beginning, this is our 200th episode. That's a lot of episodes to listen to. I get that. But people will ask us, how do I do this? And the answer is, go to episode 1 and start listening.
Yeah.
Because it is really hard to just, I mean, we say, and Jay actually is really good at answering people on the emails, like right away and being like, this is the basics of what you do.
Yeah.
But, you know, you really have to like do the work to figure out what's going to work for you.
Yeah. I mean,
I can't just tell you.
And I think that's why people like to buy those systems because they just want like an ebook.
Just tell me what to do.
Give me like 10 pages that gives me everything. I don't know.
Yeah.
We don't have an easy answer like that. We have a manifesto that people can go to. So there you go.
Yeah.
So far we haven't really said what we learned. We just kind of ranted a little
What did we learn?
So what we learned was many sellers are reporting it being a slow week.
Yes.
And
holiday weekend.
And I get
week,
that.
yeah.
Holiday weekend, week. You know, it's also, I'm trying to start a new kind of like, I'm trying to raise everyone's consciousness. This time of year.
Yes.
Starting about February to September. It's a long time. It's going to be like this the whole time.
Dribs and drabs.
It's going to be, it's slow. I mean, we're talking over half the year.
Yeah.
This isn't just like a tiny period. This is just the way it is. And so, like I always say, we plan our budget and our life around these sales.
The basic sales.
And then the holiday is the weird, crazy carnival time when everything sells. That's not normal.
Yeah.
So we take advantage of that and get that money and save it and pay bills and stuff. But this is how it is. And I mean, I really encourage anyone who feels like it's slow and they don't understand, go to your local small retailer, like a mom and pop shop, so you could actually talk to like the owner and just like start a conversation and be like, can you tell me what is it like to run a business during this period? And I'm sure he or she will be glad to like just unload their concerns and just say, man, I live for Christmas. Like I make all my money, 80% of my money at Christmas time, and then I'm just holding on.
Right.
And I'm not sure why we all think like we can change that, but that's just the buying retail cycle.
The retail cycle.
I mean, the only thing we have control over is how much we list, and that's why we list a lot.
That's the only thing you can
do. Although we haven't been listing at all for 4 weeks. But,
and we've still been okay, but that's the big inventory.
Yeah. So, you know, if, you know, people are coming up with like ideas of like, I had one guy email me, he said, I think if we all started to take the top 5 items in everyone's store and each of us like follow that or like watch it, he thinks if people are clicking on the items, it pushes it up and we'll all sell a lot.
It's too much work for me.
I'm like, try it.
I don't know. Tell me.
People
does it work?
People are coming up with all these little search engine tricks, and I'm like...
Search engine voodoo.
I'm like, go ahead and try it, and then come back with it's numbers. Like, you know, I did it on these 10 items, and then 8 of them sold. I'm like, okay, that seems to have worked. You know?
Right.
But if you try it and, like, 1 sells, I'm like, that's probably just the average.
Regular sale.
I mean, if you have a trick or a method, it needs to be reproducible, you know?
Like science.
It's got to be scientific. If not, it's just like you sound like the pitcher in baseball who's like won't change his underwear because he thinks it's the magic underwear. Why he
Lucky
wins
underwear.
games, you know? So it's just like, all right, that's what you think, that's cool, but really, you should clean your underwear.
Ew. Wow, I did not think we'd go into that territory on this podcast, but okay. Yeah, so we got a couple comments about people talking about using free USPS
this
boxes.
Happens every couple months. Like we get into this big debate on the blog.
Yes, quote unquote misusing USPS free priority.
And
boxes.
you know what? We are guilty. Ryan actually made a video where she packed something where you were using.
I use USPS boxes to wrap like the inside of the shell.
And you know what? That was bad form. I mean, look, we love the post office. I don't know if we could.
I could not run this business without it.
So I love them. So it really is bad form. And what we've learned in that was just because we were still at learning. There's plenty of stuff to pack with and buy that's better.
Like go to Walmart when they're restocking, or go to Walmart or big box store and ask for a bunch of boxes. Use those boxes for your inside packaging or whatever, you know, the raw cardboard that you need to use. And that's what I do. I have a big old pile of it now that we get out of the recycling bin at the dump or whatever.
And then also when we buy things and people send us stuff in boxes,
I reuse those boxes.
Reuse those too.
And then I use the USPS boxes properly, where you know, if I'm wrapping something, a glass item, I use a cardboard box and then I, you know, put it in a USPS and I ship USPS. So I use it properly. I don't use padded flat rate envelopes as, you know, bubble wrap, like bulk bubble wrap. I actually, I mean, that does really suck when people do that. You're like, come on.
Yeah.
I actually buy bubble wrap, you know, so. And reuse bubble wrap that people send me, you know, stuff like that.
It's also just when you get to a certain point, and you know, if you sell enough stuff, it's just nice. It's just more convenient.
Oh, just to have your stuff.
Have just like a big roll of bubble wrap, or a bunch of like real boxes, or poly mailers.
I mean, I can't live without that stuff now. I was so cheap in the beginning. I was so cheap, and it bit me in the ass a bunch of times because stuff wasn't packed well enough. You know. Spend the money. It's a tax write-off. It's an expense.
And time is money, right?
Exactly.
So, Ryan, what is our week going to be like?
Okay.
Are we going to list anything?
That's a great question. So we have to flip the house this week. We have to clean it on Monday or whenever.
Yes.
I need to list. I need to sit in my office. I need to sit at my computer. There's a couple folders of stuff that I have my eye on.
Are you excited?
Yeah, because it's high-priced stuff.
Yep.
And some of it's good sellers. Like I have this really old folder from months ago of just hats. It's like 50 hats.
Yep.
And I'm like, I have not listed those hats. I really need... And hats sell. We sell hats like crazy.
I sold one yesterday.
Yeah, I mean...
4-H hat.
I sell hats almost every day sometimes. So, yes, I'm excited. I need to focus. I don't want to go scavenge unless we happen upon something. It's just... focus time.
Yep. And I'm going to be taking pictures. I have...
yes.
I took pictures of all these men's shoes. Like, we had 8 months of shoes build up where we had these
Oh my god. How many pairs do you think?
A couple hundred pairs.
Couple hundred, yeah. That was a lot.
And that was just men's, and now I have a couple hundred of ladies' shoes.
Yeah.
I've got a bunch of them cleaned and they're laid out, and I just have to sit down and just start taking pictures and... You know, it's writing them up. Yeah. And we just got to do it.
Yeah. And, you know, a lot of times that stuff sells.
It's just not going to do itself. You just got to do it. I just got to get
going. You're imitating my dad. My dad is a carpenter contractor, and he always talks to himself.
Come on, you just got to do it. You just got to, just get started.
He motivates himself that way. I guess you do, too.
Yep. Okay, so we're now going to answer some questions that people have either emailed or have...
or voicemail
to us.
And you can call us at 540-407-8486. It is just a voicemail number, as we always say. We do not pick up. And you have 3 minutes to leave us your question or comment. A lot of people get cut off because they keep talking, so... I don't think a lot of people are aware that they've been cut off either because they don't call back. So we try to do our best with those.
You're grumpy this week, it sounds like.
I'm not grumpy. Oh, yes, I am.
Yeah.
Okay, first call.
Hi, Jay and Ryan. Just a quick question on having defects removed. Just wondered if you've ever had any luck having one removed for an item that arrived damaged by the post office. Like we had a box that was crushed and a painting was damaged, and we took a defect for it. And I did try to call and get it removed, and she said that it would still be considered a defect for us. And I just wondered if you'd ever had any luck having something like that removed. If so, then I'll keep persevering. Thanks so much. Bye.
Yes, so I have had success. 2 items that were, this is recently within the last couple months, 2 items. One was damaged by FedEx, one was damaged by the post office. eBay will look to see if you return their money right away and then you dealt with insurance, if that's what you want to do. Obviously, you should deal with insurance, and if that stuff's insured, you should get paid for that. And yes, so I was able to get the defects removed when someone either opened a case or opened a return, however they got you to have the defect. eBay sided with me to get the defect removed because I made the customer whole, gave them their money back, communicated with them right away. So as long as you've done that, eBay is going to think you're good.
And we say a big part of it is being very professional.
Yes.
And not only it's your text messages between you and the customer, because eBay reps always will
look at those,
read that conversation. But then when you talk to them, to be very clear, precise, and not long-winded and confusing.
Very exact.
Like, it's almost like you're ordering them in a way. I mean, I don't want to sound like
not that, ordering, but you're very much just like laying, because they will ask you
right
straight up what happened,
right,
and you lay out your story. Don't be convoluted. Don't go on tangents. Just this would happen. This would happen. This would happen.
And this is what should happen.
Right. I would like my defect removed.
So we got a question by email. Andy writes us that he bought like a tool set, a very specific kind of like tool for $10 at a yard sale. Uh-huh. He put it online and it sold within a couple hours to someone in Hawaii for $120.
Right.
It's like, that's awesome.
He's like, great.
So his question is, he's like, the thing I don't get is that there are people that are selling these for like $30.
Right.
Why did someone buy it from me for $120?
And my theory, I think you answered him first, but then I answered him after.
And we have a couple theories.
So my theory is, and we've talked about this before, there are a lot of sellers on eBay that won't ship to Alaska, won't ship to Puerto Rico, and will not ship to Hawaii.
Or to APOs.
Or APOs.
A military basis.
They'll only ship to the 48 contiguous states.
Yeah, it's very strange. I mean,
and what's weird is you're like, I think they're afraid of it getting damaged or whatever. I've had great luck shipping to all those places. Not a problem at all.
Well, I mean, especially those places, because that's America.
It's
that's
USPS.
So
full tracking, full insurance.
And there's no, like, weird...
Customs. Well, there is customs for APO.
Okay,
you
right.
do a customs form for them, but it's easy.
Yeah. So that's a good thing about if you're willing to ship anywhere, you can often sell it for more because... even though people might be selling for $30, those people don't ship everywhere. The other thing, the other reason why I think is that, like, I looked at his item and I looked it up online. If someone were to buy a new tool like he sold, it would be $150. So his was lower than what someone would buy it new.
No.
I mean, people selling for $30. I think there are guys out there that just don't believe that someone would sell an item of quality
for $30.
That should be $150 for only $30.
So the buyer's thinking,
like,
something is wrong.
Right, like
this.
I'm going to get it and it's rusted or doesn't work. I mean, and I get that, especially if the photos are bad or you just can't quite tell, like, what am I really going to be getting?
But this guy who wrote us, Andy, had good photos, good description.
Yep.
Basically, he's more trustworthy.
Right.
It sounds crazy, but as a buyer, everyone's bought stuff on eBay. You've had those experiences where you take a chance, the photos aren't great, but it's a great price, and you get it. Nope, it's a piece of crap, whatever. So being in Hawaii, this person's like, I want the good one, I want to make sure it's right, and I want it here in 3 days.
Right.
And it probably was.
Right.
Hello, Jay and Ryan. I first want to say thank you for all your help. We run an eBay store, and my question for you is, at your level of the amount of items that you have in your store, what do you typically pay in final value fees in addition to your listing fees for your Anchor store? I saw on your facts page that you guys pay about $225 for listings for I think you mentioned it was a 4,000 item store. But yeah, I was just wondering what the final values come out. So I know it's different for every item, but if you have ever come up with an average, I was just curious. And that's my question. Thanks for everything, guys, and take care. Bye.
It sounded like she was asking us if we pay a different final value fee percentage based on your subscription.
Right.
So a level of store subscription does not change your final value fee percentage. So everyone pays the same amount. It's like depending on the category, it's between like 8% and like 12%, depending on the kind of
what category. What changes is listing fees.
Right. The listing fees gets cheaper.
Right.
The higher your store category,
category, whatever. Yeah.
So anyway,
subscription level.
But if people are interested, we pay the same final value percentages as everybody else. Our charges are normally between like $800 and $1,200
a month. Yeah.
And that's just something we just always like, okay, that's what we're going to have to pay.
That's just the price we pay. Yeah. That's our overhead.
So
that's
if you think, fees. We're making between $8,000 to $12,000 a month gross,
before taxes.
That's just the way it is.
Yeah.
And so that's how much we pay.
So the good thing is if you up your store, they give you a certain amount of like listings for free. Like there's 0, cents. And then for us, the store that we have, I forget what it's called, like an anchor store. It's 5 cents a listing, and I think we pay like $175 or something for that a month.
But we pay for all at one time, or we
for a year.
Subscribe for
we do it
year.
cheaper, yeah.
So it's like $150 or something.
Yeah.
So really, and then because we're top rated sellers, we save 20% on our final value fees. That could be $200 a month. So basically, we get our store for free because we're good.
The store subscription for free.
Because we're really nerdy and cool.
No, that's not why.
So, it's for us, I'm like, oh man, we got to pay eBay $1,000. I'm like, you know what? I couldn't do this any other way. We couldn't run our own website or whatever.
I wouldn't want to have a brick and mortar store. Yeah. We talk about it all the time, and that's just our theory.
Hi, Jay and Ryan. My name is Penny, kind of one of your newer fans, and I have a question. I've been listening to your posts, your back post a lot, and I'm sure it's addressed in here somewhere, but I just haven't found it. I know that you all post on eBay and Bonanza, and we've been looking at Bonanza and see how you can upload everything easily. My question is it problematic posting on both, or say posting on eBay and Etsy as opposed to Bonanza, as far as like the rules of these sites go? The question I have is about this, because we had been posting when we first started listing our store items. We posted on Etsy and eBay under the impression that, what would be the odds anybody would buy one item from both places at the same time. Interestingly enough, that happened to me. Someone bought a mug. I happened to be at the computer listing things, and one eBay or Etsy one, I got a little ka-ching, and I thought, oh, look, I sold this mug. And I went to go to the other store to shut it down, and within 30 seconds, I was literally sitting at the computer. It was purchased again on the other store. As it turned out, they were purchased from the same address to different people, so I'm assuming they were a couple and intending to buy matching mugs. But, how likely is that? But it happened to me. So, of course, it made me leery, and I pulled everything off Etsy because eBay is really our biggest seller. But I am interested in putting things on Bonanza as well. So my question is, are there any issues with this as far as eBay getting irritated? I'm assuming not because you do it. But thanks for your time.
It's interesting that you brought this up. We sell on eBay and Bonanza, and really the only reason we sell on Bonanza is Bonanza sucks in your eBay listings and syncs to your eBay listings. So when you sell something, within a few hours, Bonanza will take it down if you sold it on eBay. But if you sold it on Bonanza, or like you were saying, Etsy, you have to go end that on eBay. Now, what you said about someone buying the same mug from you twice on two different sites, has happened to me twice. Because I believe that they Googled it, found it on Google, saw that it was up for sale twice, didn't either thought you had two and were selling two different ones on two different sites, or didn't realize you were the same person. So what I did for the mug, I sold a mug. I canceled it on Bonanza, sent her a note, and then mailed it to her through eBay because I didn't want a defect on eBay. The second one, this was kind of nerdy. It was an experiment on my end. I sold 2 glass bowls. Obviously, I only had one. But I bought one for the same price on replacements.com and had it shipped to the customer. Because I wanted to keep the money and I wanted the customer to be happy. So I spent the same amount of money on replacements.com and had it sent to her. Just because I didn't want to cancel it.
I mean, I think, too, when we were newer in our store on eBay, we were willing to try anything. So we had our eBay store.
We had Etsy.
We tried Etsy. We were on Poshmark. I mean, we tried anything that came up. We were like, maybe we could sell there too. But we quickly learned that eBay was where the traffic was, and just that it was better to just channel all of our energy into one place than to keep channeling into different places, Amazon.
It's too scattered.
Yeah. And, I mean, I find that, too. People, sell on Amazon, eBay, and people make that choice. They're like, I like eBay better, or people are like, I like Amazon better. I know some people out there are like those rare birds, and you're very beautiful. I love your feathers.
Your plumage.
But that seems more rare, and often it seems like those are the people that don't have large inventories, so they have 100 things here, 100 things there. It's but again, maybe it's one of those people that have huge stores in both places. Cool. But
I like selling on eBay the most. I like concentrating my energy there, but I don't mind Bonanza because Bonanza is kind of an automatic thing, although that duplicate thing happens. And just always remember, when you sell something on Bonanza, go end it on eBay right away. Yeah. That's what I do. I end it right then. If I have to go on my phone and do it, I do it there. So
cool. Well, thanks for being with us. It's this week. Basically, it's our diary, our little online audio diary.
Yes.
I often think I'm just talking to my future self. Like, my future self will hear this
and be like, "What?
This was what
going on?
You were doing with your life." So anything we talked about, it's this week. Any links will be on scavengerlife.com. You can go there to check it out. You can also join the conversation there, because after we post this, the fun really starts in the comments. Come and we try and be productive, and it's about solving problems. You can always call us and leave a question or comment.
And again, that number is 540-407-8486.
And we always post an episode every Sunday night, Monday morning, depending on her schedule. Ryan's going to do her what sells a video
on Wednesday,
and yep. And sometimes we do interviews as well. Sometimes those are Fridays. And so I don't know. And if you want to rent our vacation farmhouse, we will link to that on the blog.
To that. Please come during a week, and not a weekend.
Yeah, come during the week, and we will definitely give you a good deal.
Yeah, as a scavenger, you'll get it.
And I'm telling you, right now, it is beautiful in the Shenandoah mountains. The weather is great.
It's like cool, sunny, beautiful.
Hit the river, go hiking.
Oh, I'm jealous because now I'm going to edit this podcast when I really want to get in the kayak and go down the river.
Yep. All right, guys.
Okay, this podcast is ending in 3, 2, 1, 0.